kapatid, atin pong pagpatuloy ang series po natin sa Bibliology. Tayo po ay nasa pangalawang part na po ng part 3 ng Bibliology. And like what I've mentioned dun sa previous topic, papag-usapan natin ngayon is yung mga ilang katanungan na generally raised on the issue of canonicity. Couple questions that are generally raised in the issue of canonicity. The first question that raised was the canon, sarado na ba ang canon? Is the canon closed? Halimbawa nito is yung usapin na tinatawag natin na 1st and 2nd Corinthians. Is there really have a 3rd and 4th Corinthians pala? So meron ba talaga nun? Halimbawa yung 1st and 3rd Corinthians ang nag-appear. So pumunta tayo sa isang Christian library at nakita mo itong 4 letters na to. So ang tanong, tatanggapin ba natin ito as canonical? Ang sagot natin dyan, well, hindi natin alam o hindi ko alam kung ang Bible makes an explicit claim na that the canon is closed. Kasi wala nang sinabi wala naman sinabi na by the way, this is the last book written in the New Testament. Wala naman sinabing ganun and nothing can be written after it. Says of God. Wala namang ganun tayong mababasa. Another verse is yung Revelation chapter 22 verse 19. Sabi nga dito, at kung ang sino man ay mag-alis sa mga salita ng aklat ng propesiyang ito, aalisin ng Diyos ang kanyang bahagi sa punong kahoy. Sa punong kahoy ng buhay at sa banal na lungsod na nasusulat sa aklat na ito. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God will take away his part from the tree of life and from the holy city, which are written in this book. So ito ay strong statement na kapag may binago ka o dinagdag, may parusa. Pero hindi ito or it doesn't apply to the canon as a whole. Dahil ang Gospel of John at ang 3 letters niya, bago pa lang isinulat, nauna na yung Book of Revelation. Nauna ang Book of Revelation. May sinabi rin sa Jude 3, sabi dito, may mga minamahal, samantalang ako ay lubusang nagsisikap na sumulat sa inyo tungkol sa ating iisang kaligtasan. Natagpuan kong kailangang sumulat upang himukin kayo na ipaglaban ang pananampalataya na minsang ibinigay sa mga banal. Beloved, while I was making every effort to write you about our common salvation, I felt that necessity to write to you, appealing that you contended earnestly for the faith which was once for all handed down to the saints. So sinabi dyan, right, appealing to you to contend for the faith that was once delivered to the saints. Sa ibang salin, ang Jude ay nasulat noong 50 to 60 AD. Pero at the end of 1st century, what Jude was saying was the faith, which is the collection of doctrine that defines who we are Christians, or who we are as Christians. They delivered their finality. Thus, faith has been delivered, sabi dun sa talata. Unidentifiable sets of doctrine once for all. At sinabi ng Jude 3 sa atin that no other books can be brought into the Bible that disagree with the existing books of the Bible. So ang Jude 3 ay isang strong verse that the basic sets of the Bible doctrine is already set. Isa ito sa mga criteria na nagamit natin o magagamit natin o dapat nating gamitin. So kung matagpuan natin ang 1st and 3rd Corinthians, yung 3rd and 4th Corinthians, ito ay interesting. Kasi kaya ko sinabing 1st and 3rd, no? Sinasabi kasi nila na yung 1st Corinthians natin ngayon is the 2nd Corinthians. Kasi may naunang 1st Corinthians na sulat si Pablo. So, sinasabi ko, interesting, pero certainly, if they disagree dito sa dalawang books na to, matagpuan man natin to, na meron nga tayo na presente sa Bible, they would disagree with the faith once for all delivered to the saints. Kung natagpuan natin yung 1st and 3rd Corinthians, ito ay interesting. Pero certainly, if they disagree dito sa dalawang books na meron tayo na presente sa Bible, they would disagree with the faith once for all delivered of the saints, to the saints na sinasabi sa Jude. Magsususpecha na ako, no? Kung sabihin na ang canon is not close, or after 208 years another book of a letter appeared. Kung sinasabi mong hindi pa close ang canon at nakakita ka ng mga new books, kailangan mong alamin at sabihin kung ito ba ay magpifit sa criteria who wrote them. Do they agree in the harmony and tone na pinag-usapan natin or pinakita ko po sa inyo last session natin dun sa part 1. So, ginagamit ba ito ng church as a whole? Yan yung mga titignan natin. Ang mga tanong na ito are still come up. So, every 15 to 20 years, merong palaging new book eh. Merong palaging new book na lumalabas. Set of books. Pero, pareho ng mga nilalaman. They keep doing it. And I don't believe that any other letter will ever appear. Arguments. Kung sabihin natin na yes, the canon is closed, ano yung mga several arguments? Number 1 is all the books that currently have stamp from first and second hand contacts with Jesus. I guess if the book appear and claim to have first-hand contact with Jesus, no, then this argue won't apply. Pero kung makakakuha ka ng book written in 150, who's someone to 2 to 3 generations beyond the disciple, I think people can fairly argue that it's simply not acceptable, it's too far and too long for the fact. Pangalawa is kind or may not believe. Some people will argue na Jesus at ang yung mga apostol niya possess ng certain authority and that authority was not passed on. Ang ilan dito ay may view sa spiritual gifts, especially the gift of apostleship. But the argument can be made that Jesus and the apostles possess an authority at ang authority na to ay hindi nauulit o nagagaya o it can be replicated through century. 2 century. So kung ganun, kung ang book ay hindi galing sa mga apostol o sa mga authoritative, it can be viewed and therefore the canon is closed. Sabi sa Ephesians chapter 2 verse 20 na itinayo sa saligang inilagay ng mga apostol at ng mga propeta na si Kristo Jesus ang batong panulok, having been built on the foundation of the apostleship and prophets, Christ Jesus himself being the center stone, or the cornerstone. So the church are built by the foundation of the apostles and prophets. So kung may ilalagay ka o ipapakilala na ibang books na galing kung saan, may problema ka. Pangatlo, the church really did close canon. The church really did close canon. That's the third question, na dinidil natin dito. When the end of the 4th century, the church said, the canon is closed. Pagdating ng 4th century pa lang. So I think you could argue that the church led by the Spirit. So if they think the canon is still open, hindi ka lang disagree sa akin, o sa other individual. You are also disagreeing in the whole movement of the Asian church kung hindi pa talaga sarado yung canon. So kung ang sino mang tumayo at nag-claim na propeta and claiming the says the Lord, ang kiniklaim nila ay same authority of the written word. So ito ay problema. Pero palagay ko, mag-a-agree kayo sa sasabihin ko kasi nasabi sa Biblia sa Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 20 to 22. Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 20 and 22. Kung ang kanilang propesiya ay hindi matupad, ay babatuhin siya hanggang sa mamatay. Ito ang itanong mo sa kanya. Handa ba siyang mamatay? Sa mga lumalabas na nanguhula ngayon na sinasabi na ito raw ay sabi ng Diyos. Diba? Another question is, did the church really get it right in close in the canon? Did the church really get it right? So, tama ba na isarado yung canon? So, ang doctrine of inspiration is irrelevant o hindi angkop kung wala tayo ng mga tamang books. So, we can talk all we want, all inspiration. Pero kung wala tayong inspired books, meron tayong problema. Second reason why the church got it right, kung bakit nakuha nila ng tama, o kung bakit nakuha ng tama ng iglesia ang mga librong nasulat, is number 1, have never seen any reason to question their decision. Wala akong makitang rason para questionin yung kanilang desisyon. Wala akong nakitang kahit anong libro o nasulat sa New Testament Apocrypha na malapit man sa criteria ng Biblia o malapit man sa criteria ng Biblia. They were written way after the time of Christ and apostles, kung titignan nyo. At ang halimbawa nito is yung Shepherds of Hermes, the Didache. So yan, isa pa sa mga halimbawa. So masasabi mo na sila ay mga second generation books dahil they don't claim the authority. They quoting the New Testament as authority. Nakikita nyo ang kanilang kaibahan sa mga sulat sa Biblia. Second is the issue of faith o yung usapin patungkol sa pananampalataya. God go to the work of inspiring all the books Ito ay para protektahan ang kanyang mga tunay na salita at masiguradong mailagay sa Bible. Siguradong mailagay sa Bible. So I believe it. This is from God. Bigyan ko kayo ng isang istorya. May isang leader ng campus crusade sa isang university sa Kentucky. His name is Tony. Isa siyang masigasig at masipag na mag-aaral. Ngunit isang araw nabalitaan ng kanyang kaibigan sa paaralan na si Tony nag-drop out. So nag-alala yung kaibigan niya. Kaya nagpa siya yung kaibigan niya na puntahan siya sa bahay. Si Tony, pinuntahan sa bahay ng kaibigan niya. At alamin ang dahilan nang di niya pagtuloy ng pag-aaral sa paaralan. Sabi ni Tony sa kanyang kaibigan, meron daw siyang isang guro ng history class. At sinabi kay Tony ng kanyang guro na ang Biblia ay hindi mapagkakatiwalaan dahil kulang pa ito. Meron daw dapat na mga books na dapat ay kasama sa Biblia ngayon at meron naman daw na mga books na nasa Biblia ngayon na dapat wala sa Bible ngayon. So yun ang sabi ng teacher niya. So yung kaibigan ni Tony, wala pang alam o hindi pa napag-aaralan yung canonization. So hindi makapagtanong o hindi mapayuhan si Tony. So yung guro ni Tony ginamit ang canonization issue to attack his Tony's faith. Yun yung makikita natin dyan Inatake niya yung pananampalataya ni Tony dun sa issue ng canonization. So let's continue and let's talk about yung canonization and to the issue of transmission. Canonization and to the issue of transmission. Number 1, yung manuscripts. Greek word manu means hand. Greek word spectrum means written. Scriptum means written. So, any handwritten or position of the text, tawag dyan manuscripts. So, means manuscripts are copies from century to century, individually from the sake of the churches. So, makikita mo ang footnotes ng Bible mo, MSS or MS. Merong nakalagay na ganun. Ibig sabihin, manuscripts or manuscript. So, maraming manuscripts that being copied at pag tinignan mo ang mga manuscripts, there's difference. There's difference, no? Sa wikang Griego, makikita mo ang mga pagkakaiba nila. At ang halimbawa dyan ay ang Romans chapter 5 verse 1. Romans chapter 5 verse 1. Yung Ehoman. We have peace with God. I believe I already mentioned it also dun sa ating introduction for the canonization, ano? And Greek, yung Greek word naman na man, let's have peace with God. Yun naman ang ibig sabihin nun. So magkaiba, no? Isa pang issue na ating makikita at ang issue ng omission and delusion. Omission and delusion means some manuscripts have the whole verse but other manuscripts don't have. Ang halimbawa niyan ay yung sa Mark chapter 16 verse 8. Mark chapter 16 verse 8. Merong footnotes kang makikita dyan na may nakasulat. The most reliable other manuscripts and others ancient witness do not have Mark 16 9 to 20. So yun yung nakalagay doon. Merong malaking chunk ng scripture that it appears added no, at the later date. So merong hanggang Mark 16 verse 8 lang, at merong hanggang Mark 16 9 to 20. Dinagdag ito several hundred years later. Isa pang halimbawa is yung John chapter 8 verse 1 to 11. A woman caught in adultery. May footnotes dyan na nagsasabi better manuscripts omit the verses. May mabasa kayo dyan ganon. So, ganito din yung sa chapter 7 ng John. Yung iba walang verse 52. And yung iba naman may verse 8 to 11, 1 to 11. So, sabi ng iba, itong woman caught in adultery ay totoong pangyayari, pero hindi na si John ang sumulat. Yun ang sabi nila. Later edition na lumabas o dinagdag ito. Isa pang halimbawa is yung Matthew chapter 6 verse 5 to 14. Matthew chapter 6 verse 5 to 14. The Lord's Prayer, no? May footnotes dyan. Yung iba daw hanggang verse 13 lang. Hanggang from evil lamang, no? Sa ESV at sa NIV version ng Bible lamang ito nag-a-appear. Sa mga bagong sulat, pero sa later manuscripts, wala tong verse 14. Walang verse 14. Sa ESV, sa NIV meron. Pero sa ibang mga naunang sulat, walang verse 14. So, habit ng church na magdagdag, especially flory language, para ma-fit yung pattern. It's fit his pattern. So, may mga pagkakaiba din sa word. Gumagamit sila ng mga synonyms so that a younger kid can understand. Pinabababaw nila ang mga salita o mga salita din na ginagamit ngayon, inilalagay nila doon sa panahon natin. So, the language are changing, so parang ina-adapt nila doon. So, hindi to masamang ideya, no? Isa pang halimbawa is yung Matthew chapter 5 verse 3, blessed are the poor in spirit. Sa Lucas or sa Luke 6:20, sa Luke chapter 6 verse 20, nakalagay dyan, blessed are the poor. Walang spirit. So, nakita natin merong pagkakaiba sa Greek manuscripts and sa yan yung mga ididil natin merong pagkakaiba sa Greek manuscripts. We need to deal with it. Sa issue na to, dito na pumapasok yung tinatawag na textual criticism. At ang halimbawa nito ay ang Romans chapter 5 verse 1. Kanina pa natin binabanggit ito Ehoman. Pag tinignan kasi natin yung differences at kung ano ang mas kahalintulad na gustong sabihin o word na sinasabi ng author, malapit sa original. Yun kasi yung tinitignan natin dyan. Yung pagtingin sa difference at kung ano yung kahalintulad o gustong sabihin ng sumulat, ng manunulat. Isang halimbawa rin dyan yung which one most likely written by Paul. Alin dito ang mas kahalintulad na sulat ni Pablo? Yung tinitignan dyan. Now, textual criticism works. Number 1, information was added rather than omitted. Information was added rather than omitted. Ang mga impormasyon ay dinagdag kaysa laktawan. Sa John chapter 5 verse 2 to 6, John chapter 5 verse 2 hanggang 6, sa Jerusalem nga'y may isang tipunan ng tubig sa tabi ng pintuan ng mga tupa, na sa wikang Hebreo ay tinatawag na Bet Zatha, na may 5 portiko. Sa mga ito ay nakahiga ang maraming may sakit, mga bulag, mga pilay, at mga lumpo. Tapos makikita nyo dyan, merong open close parenthesis, verse 4, sapagkat lumusong ang isang anghel ng Panginoon sa mga tanging panahon sa tipunan ng tubig at kinakalawkaw ang tubig. At ang unang manaong sa tipunan ng tubig, pagkatapos na makalawkaw ang tubig, ay gumagaling sa anumang sakit at dinaramdam. Naroon ang isang lalaki na may 38 taon nang may sakit. Verse 6, nang makita ni Jesus na siya'y nakahiga at nalamang siya'y matagal nang may sakit, ay sinabi niya sa kanya, ibig mo bang gumaling? Basahin natin sa English. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porticos. In this lay a multitude of those who were sick, blind, lame, and withered, waiting for the moving of the waters. For the angel of the Lord went down at certain season into the pool and stirred up the water. However, then the first after the stirring up of the water steeped in was made well from whatever diseases with which he was afflicted. A man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been a long time in that condition, he said to him, "Do you wish to get well?" So nang pumunta si Jesus Christ dun sa pool ng Bethesda sa wikang Hebreo, at nakita niya yung 38 years old na bedridden, some manuscript keeps John chapter 5 verse 4. So, which is part ng story ang John chapter 5 verse 4. So, I better add it, kung ako yung tatanungin nyo. Mas tama na idagdag ito at huwag laktawan. So, yan yung isa sa pinakamagandang example dito sa sinasabi natin. So, one of the starting point na ginagawa ng textual critic is that more likely the material is added rather than taken away. So, truly hard taken away o alisin at hindi na isama o totally tanggalin sa Word of God. Pangalawa is yung how old is the manuscripts. Isa yan sa tinitignan ng textual criticism. Codex Sinaiticus, isa itong Greek manuscripts that are Bible or based on the 4th century. Ang King James is based on the 3rd manuscripts that come from 11th century, 11th century. So, ibig sabihin, mas bago yung King James. So, if they were nothing else to decide alin ang iyong pagkakatiwalaan, ang copy na 400 years after that fact, or some of that over 4,000 years after the fact, ano yung ide-decide mo? Mas tinitignan nila ang mas matagal at matandang manuscripts. Doon ka dun sa 4th century. Kesa dun sa 11th century lang lumabas or nagbase. Mas matibay yung mas matagal yung hawak na pinagbasihang manuscripts. Kasi mas malapit ito sa mga events at mas makapagkakatiwalaan ito. They can be trusted more. So, ano ba yung current situation natin when it comes to all of this? Meron 3 bagay. We have over 5,000 Greek manuscripts of New Testament. Not of the autograph, over 5,000 Greek manuscripts. This is an amazing number, no? We have also thousands of manuscripts in other languages. Translations, a lot of Asian history like Caesar, there are only 3 copies of it. Pangalawa, yung 99% of the text is sure. 99% of text is sure. So ayokong isipin nyo na merong differences kung kaya merong ilang parts of the chunks in the Bible hindi sure, no? About 99% of the text is set. Kung titignan natin, di ba? Yung 1% na yun is tinignan nila that this is not affecting the whole passage of the Bible or your faith or kung ano yung tinuturo nito. Tingnan natin, no? Number 3 yan eh. The final number, the final 1% that was not absolutely sure contains no important biblical teaching. Yun yung ibig kong sabihin. A lot of things we don't know for sure ay spelling. Merong 7 spelling sa pool ng Bethesda at merong 5 spelling sa account tungkol sa pagpapalayas ng Panginoong Jesus sa ng demonyo. So merong ganito na mga errors, no? Or hindi sure. Sorry, no, hindi error, hindi sure. Which is spellings. So, yung mga salita o word na atonement, cross, salvation, walang question dito na lumabas about differences among Greek manuscripts. Wala. So, tandaan natin that the doctrine of inspiration only applies to the autograph. Only applies to the autograph. So, hindi mo pwedeng i-apply ang doctrine of inspiration sa mga copies. Sa mga copies. Tandaan niyo yan. Dahil tulad ng nakita o nalaman natin, there are many differences. There are 150,000 or different number and too high. May tao na maaari kang makilala o makausap na maaaring magsabi sa'yo na ganito. Kung wala na pala ang autograph, wala nang halaga na pag-usapan pa ang doctrine of inspiration. Kung ang mga nasa atin ngayon ay mga copies o kopya na lamang, then inspiration is passed away. Wala nang dahilan para pag-usapan pa to. So, ganito ang dapat mong response dito, no? Kapag naka-encounter ka ng ganun. Ang mga text critics are done very, very well. Kahit na may 1% na hindi sigurado, ang 99%, ay absolutely said. And in academic community, kapag sinabing 99%, there is a question. There is no question. There is no question for the 99% of the text is accurate and trustworthy o lubos na mapanghahawakan at mapagkakatiwalaan. Siguro putulin ko muna dito and let's talk about yung Dead Sea Scrolls. No? Dead Sea Scrolls. Sa susunod nating topic. Again, matadownload nyo yung copy na to. Sa baba, I will put the link or you can approach me to Facebook para makuha nyo yung copy na to if you want. Marami pong salamat sa inyo pong pakikinig.